We are currently in a very strange time in terms of the market of PC parts, and especially GPUs, also CPUs, but more so graphics cards. So now more than ever, you can actually get some insanely good deals if you know what you're buying, but you can also buy some really bad deals, which you may think are the right choice. So here we are today, just with a little video. I'm not going to be able to cover the whole market in a single video, also because I want to keep this pretty short, but I'm going to cover basically the mid to high range of the GPU market and give you a few guidelines, because I see a lot of people asking too much money for their used cards, and a lot of people actually buying those. And that's not what you should do, because finally we have GPUs back in stock. Now, yes, RTX 5000 series is not amazing in terms of value for money, but the AMD 9000 series is pretty good. And even the 5000 series of NVIDIA, it's pretty good if you know what to buy, now that we have stock, finally. So what you should not buy at all costs, avoid this, is GPUs like this. And this is a 4080 from PNY, just very standard, no RGB version. And this, or a 4080 Super, or even a 4090, even though that's going to be a slightly different topic because of AI and more VRAM, but we'll cover that also. These are some of the most overpriced GPUs in the current market. Now, what are the alternatives which you should be considering? 5070, first of all. In rasterization, it is slower than a 4080. Okay, not by much, but it's still slower on average. 9070 XT, again, it's faster by a long shot than a 5070. However, depending on the game, it may still be slower than a 4080 Super, but it is in that range of performance. So this is starting to give us a bit of guideline. 5070 Ti is exactly where a 4080 is supposed to be, 4080 Super, in rasterization. Of course, these GPUs, the brand new ones I'm referring to, they have a variety of advantages compared to the used one, main of which is warranty. But also, again, if you're playing with DLSS, upscaling, any kind of ray tracing, they're quite a lot better. You're also going to have better resale value in the future. You're going to have better driver support. Now, this is probably obvious, but why am I saying this? I'm saying this because I see people listing these cards on sale by basically doing as follow. They take the performance, relative performance of, let's say, brand new 5070 Ti. They take this performance, they subtract the percentage difference of the performance to the price, and they list it for sale. Meaning, this card ends up having the same hypothetical value for money as a brand new card. However, it's a used product. Now, sure, people are going to tell you it didn't run, I just kept it in a box, but it's still a used product. So when you buy used products, a normal product, not a collectible, not something that goes up in value, not a watch, not shoes, I guess, not stuff like that, a normal used products, it has to cost less than if you're buying brand new. Okay? Now, of course, if you can't buy the brand new option, sure, prices start to creep up because there's more demand. But now we don't have that anymore. You should at least account for a 20% reduction if you're buying used, at least. So for this to be a good value card, it has to be accounted for the performance differential to a 5070 Ti, sure, compared to the price, and then an extra 20% at least for this to be a good deal. Now, if you've been following the channel for a while, but it's probably not many of you, a long time ago, I was making mostly used content, like buying used PCs, flipping them for money and stuff. And if you've seen those, or if you watch Brian from Techia City, you can see that we get very cheap stuff used. And that's why it makes sense, because very often you have to replace turn paste, or you will have to in the future, or you will have to sooner than if you bought a brand new card, still, if it makes sense. You're gonna have to clean them up, you're gonna have maybe less accessories, maybe it's missing the box. A variety of reasons why, but they're pretty obvious reasons. If you're buying used, you should pay less. So what I see people doing, unfortunately, is overpaying for used GPUs. So if I see, for example, 4080 for sale at $900, that GPU should not sell, because whoever buying it is making a bad mistake. That's why I'm making this video. On the other end, right now, there are insanely good deals on the lower end. So for example, these 4060s you see over here, I bought them for $200. And this one was literally pretty much brand new. This one is used. You can find great deals on the lower end. On the mid-range, 4070s are coming down by a lot. You can buy a 4070 for around $350. That's probably my best value pick overall, because I don't love the 4060 as a GPU, but I do love the 4070 Super. At $300 to $350, they're a great buy. The 4070 Ti has the VRAM issue, okay? It's not that much VRAM, but if you're playing 1080p or if you don't need the VRAM, at the right price, I'm talking maybe $450, it's a good buy also. These GPUs, right now, they're overpriced. This is the first one I buy, and even this I think I slightly overpaid for, but people wanted it. So I would pay, like honestly, for a 4080 flat, I would pay $600. Maybe 650 if it's like a very good custom. For a 4080 Super, I would pay maybe $700 for a good custom model, 650 for like the average model, not worth it. For most of you guys, if you don't need the NVIDIA features and you're considering something like this, do me a favor, please, and buy a 9070 XT. I'm not an AMD fanboy. As a matter of fact, I think I'm one of the few channels which still don't get any kind of sponsorships in terms of GPUs, so I'm very honest. You know, I don't have interest anywhere. And the 9000 series from AMD, it's pretty solid, guys. If you have to buy brand new, the best value, buy that. If you want NVIDIA, which I understand, just pay a bit more, buy a brand new card. Don't get one of those for too much. Now, little segment on the 4090. And I should say the 90 series cards in general, because 3090s are also overpriced. Now, people who do AI and certain workloads, they need the 24 gigabytes of VRAM. That's the magic number. They sometimes need 48, so 2 of those. So they are still overpriced, but even there, do not please buy a 4090 for crazy amount of money. Remember, a few months back, when I was recommending you guys buy them, they dropped so much. You could buy like a Strix for $1,200 at launch of the 5000 series. That was worth it, 100%. Now I see average model go for like $1,450 or $1,500. And listen, it's not terrible value for money, okay? But I still wouldn't pay that much for a used card which has been out like 2 years. If you have exceptions, like it's a ROG card and it has like 6 months of usage, you have the receipt, you can think about it compared to a brand new 5080. But even there, new cards have been catching up a little bit compared to day one drivers. So genuinely, I would just avoid the 90 series cards as of right now if you can't buy them for a good price. And if people are overselling the used GPUs, just leave them there. On the low end especially, like I didn't cover that because I think it's obvious, but people are asking like a lot of money for their 3000 series or 2000 series GPU, just let them keep it. Just buy a brand new 4000 or a brand new 5000. Plenty of options on the new market, finally. And yes, even though I'm supposed to be a used tech channel, right now I say buy brand new if you can't get a very good deal. And if everyone does this, the prices will go down to where they should be. And more importantly, because we don't care too much about the market overall, we care about you. So you just do the right buying choice and don't get scammed, okay? As usual, if you have any kind of advice or suggestions, or maybe you have a certain GPU which you're finding is very cheap, please drop a comment because I want my channel to be kind of like a community for people that care about those things. We can maybe exchange opinions in the comments. Another very underrated card I see, for example, is the 1700 GRE used. That's going for very good prices, and also the 1700 XT. These are crashing down in price. But with that said, if you watched the video this far, maybe subscribe to the channel so I can keep doing this for you guys, and see you in the next one. Bye bye.